Hello, black man. What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? We're back with the 12th episode of the Hello Black Man podcast, man. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How y'all doing today? You can see, I got my you recognize the colors. This is the Hazelhurst maroon I got on today. I got the Hazelhurst maroon on today, ladies and gentlemen. And you will see why as the broadcast continues. So listen, man, thank you all for joining. Thank you all for sharing. Thank you all for just understanding what we're about here on the podcast. It's positivity. I don't knock anybody's hustle. I don't knock anyone's way of getting money, as long as it's legal and not, embarking on what I got going on. But we are about a certain thing here, and we like to get people, like-minded people, together. That's how changes are made. People that see opportunity, seize the moment, push forward, make things happen, and that's where we are. So we appreciate everybody that's chiming in. uh Sponsors and donors are going crazy, and it's a great feeling to know that you're pushing something that other people are receiving, and they are willing to help you spread the word. We still have one more Hello Black Woman to give away from Zendetta Andrews, the realtor. She bought some phenomenal journals to give away. We're just pushing what we do, and I just think it's an opportunity for us as a community to do better, recognize better. You saw in the news here we had DMX with an overdose, uh, fighting some demons, fighting some things, whatever you may call it. He's fighting. He's up against something that is greater, seems to be greater than himself. Hoping he pulls through, but does he have the right outlets? Does he have the right circle? All those questions come into play when these type of actions take place. So we have to just see that. We have to just see if we have the right people in our circle. And I just don't understand. I don't understand if we recognize how powerful we are together. Groups of people, uh, classmates, business mates, uh, any of that, you can put yourself in a position to be insurmountable if we work together. But it's one of those things where talking to some people, man, you got to be selfless. You got to have some selflessness. What's up with you, Jay? You got to have some selflessness about you if you want to elevate. Because at some point you're going to have to reach down and pick people up. They're going to have to reach down and pick you up. And you may have to leave something on the table in order to elevate your brother, in order to elevate your sister, in order to elevate your shipmate. Uh, you have to be able to do those things. You have to want to do those things. And sharing people's stuff and tagging people, man, it's so many avenues that I think we leave on the table, that we have left on the table in the past, that we have to start tying together. I guess it's exciting, and sometimes it gets frustrating because people have the ability. People have the ability to garner the interest that they deserve. They have the ability to garner the finances that they require to push their platforms or push their products. But it's going to take some effort, and not just effort, but some collective effort in order to do the things that we need to do. And I just want us to pull together, man. It's just so many smart individuals that I know. And like I said, a lot of my, I guess a lot of my conversations aren't public with, with people. And they do a lot of uplifting for me. I do a lot of uplifting from them, pulling each other up and say, hey, I see where you're at. Try this, try that. Can you go here, go there, get in front of people and stuff like that. All that is what we're about. And I think we have that opportunity. So listen, without further ado, the young man that I'm bringing on tonight, I call him my mentor. Now this is what's going to be crazy. This young man is younger than me, and I believe you're not too old to be taught, and you're not too young to be a teacher. It's an evolution of being able to recognize someone that can push you further, pull you further, whichever way you need to go. So that's where we are with that. And when I tell you, me and this young man have probably, I don't want to use the word battle. I don't want to use the word battle, but disagree upon almost every avenue of thought process, from NBA to NFL to swag than you can imagine. But I recognize he had something that I didn't have, and I wanted to obtain it. And so you have to recognize it in people. If you're going to work with people and say, hey, listen, I know where I am. I need to get a little further. They have it. Let me pursue it, So I'm going to bring to the podcast my friend, like I said, my homeboy. It's my homeboy. Y'all might not even say that no more. But his name is with 2 E's, Cory Collins.
Jamie Jenkins.
What's good, man?
Hey, man, it's a pleasure. First of all, let me stop you and let me just touch on 2 things that you said in the introduction that stood out. Number one, you used the word young about probably about 5, 6, 7, 8 times as you were described or getting ready to announce me. So I want to thank you for that. That means the world to me at this stage of my life. A few years ago, I wouldn't have even thought twice about it, but now I appreciate that.
Oh man!
Also, you talked about how many times we've disagreed. That's true, but we've never gotten to a fight. So we can disagree as black men and just keep it moving. The next minute, it's like that disagreement never happened. So that's one thing I appreciate about our relationship.
Man, that is great. It's great to see you. Like I said, it's one of those things where it's just kind of funny where going into college, like our communication has always been sporadic, but it's always been meaningful. It's always been like touch points. Okay, this is where I'm at. This is what I'm doing. Okay, this, that, and the other. Like it's always been like an elevation step, like a stairway step. And it's never like you get back to the stairway and we starting over. It's just kind of like, okay, this is where we are. Okay, what's next? Okay, let's try this. Okay, you doing this? Okay, that works. I just think that's phenomenal. And people, like I said, I want other people to grasp that same concept.
Absolutely. And whenever we link up, it could be months after we spoke it or years. It's like we never skip a beat. So that's something that I just truly appreciate, again, at this stage of my life with anybody in terms of relationship, because we get busy, we have things, family, businesses, a lot of things going on, just the world. But when you lose that connection, but we understand there's still love. The relationship is always strong, whether we're talking every day. Because there were times where we literally were talking, chatting, texting all day. Yeah, about business and sports, you name it. But over the past few months, years, we probably haven't done it as much. But whenever we do, it's like we pick right back up. So I appreciate that. That's true friendship right there.
Absolutely. So listen, I'm gonna give you an opportunity to do your normal intro spiel. Like, you're a speaker, you're an author. So tell the people who you are, what you do, and how you got to where you are today.
Well, I am Cory Collins, originally from the great city of Hazelhurst, Mississippi, just north of the great city of Mississippi, where Mr. Jamie Jenkins is from. So I got to put that out there, man. I represent, there's this stereotype about Mississippi, especially, when you're growing up there, that's all you know, that's all you see. But when you leave, or when people from out of town come in, make fun of the way you talk, or just, it's slow, it's this, it's country. So when I left, I just made it a point to make sure that I represented that wherever I was. Let them know I'm from Mississippi. This is how we come. So you have to respect it. So I state that first and foremost. Proud Floridian for the past, a lot of years. But if you know me, you know I'm from Mississippi. That's a fact.
Yes, agreed.
I have to state that. But man, I am a husband and a father. That's what I do, right? Full-time husband, full-time father. In my spare time over the years, I've found time to, do some things business-wise. I've started a company or two here and there. I've written a book. I've done some coaching for individuals, for organizations, for businesses, personal growth, professional development, things of that nature, sales training. Find some time to speak in my spare time. But again, full-time husband, dad. That's who I am. That's what I do.
I'm gonna tell you what's really phenomenal to me. The mentoring, the coaching aspect. I'm gonna say for me, you were doing that before it was. I guess you were doing it before it was internet popular. I don't want to take away from what anybody else is doing, but before it was internet popular, when I talked to you, or maybe 5 or 6 years ago, and you said, "Hey, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm doing." I'm like, "For real?" Like, okay, like, this is definitely a need, but like you were in the segment, like 5 years prior to it popping out, So I always thought like he ahead of the game. Okay, I got somebody I can reach out to. I'm trying to do this, trying to do that, kind of streamline my thoughts and processes. Just been phenomenal, man. Absolutely.
That's who I am. That's just genuine. I've been doing that. It actually goes back further than that. I've been doing that since a kid. I was the kid in my neighborhood who would mentor the younger kids in basketball. Like, come on to my house, let me teach you how to hoop. So I've always been just teaching people. I've always gotten excited about seeing someone that I helped succeed.
Yeah.
So if I'm mentoring this young kid in my neighborhood, and I later I go and watch him play in high school, and he's on the team and one of the best players on the team, that makes me feel good. I don't have to tell anybody, I taught this. No, but that really, I get a kick out of that. So I've always done that. As I grew older and got into business, I've always been a giver. So whenever I've had family members, friends like you, if I see that you're trying to do something business-wise, if I see where I can help, I'm going to talk to you about it. Hey, advice, and here are my experiences, things of that nature. So one of my best friends, Mike B, he's from Jackson, went to Jackson State with me, and coincidentally lives in Orlando. He's gotten into business as well. This was years ago. And I remember one day we're always talking, and one day I was giving him some tips on the social media game and just marketing and things of that nature. Telling him what he needed to do. And I was just going on and on for about 5 minutes, and he stopped me. He said, "Cory, that's a whole lot of game for free." Like, what? Like, I'm just doing what I do. Like, I'm helping you. He was like, "Man, that's a business. Like, all that you just gave me, that's game." I was like, okay, wow. So that's when it hit me that that's actually, that's a business. And even back then, people weren't really doing it. Since I started doing that, coming out of woodworks, I'm a business coach. I'm a coach. Yeah. That's another story. Each his own. But yeah, that's something I've done. That's not something I've ever wanted to do for a paycheck. If that generates $1 or $2 that I can put in the bank account, that's a bonus. But again, I get the true joy out of helping people and seeing them succeed, because I know that my reward comes from that. The more people I help, I know that I'm going to get a huge payoff. And I don't mean just financially. I just mean my life. I'm talking about being blessed financially, health-wise, family, great relationships. I know that it comes back. So I do that. I mean, I literally do it in my sleep, man.
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you a few times we talked about certain instances that I had going on business wise, and I'm gonna tell you what really, I guess, threw me for a loop. Like, most time you talk to a coach, they tell you they're gonna give you one direction. Okay, this is the direction you should go, and do this and do that. Exactly, you see it all exactly. And so a lot of times you will talk, you will start with numbers or alphabet. It says either A, this is what's going on, and this is what's going to happen, this is going to happen, or B. And so, like, that kind of makes you really take a step back and evaluate the situation. And so it's not like you're trying to push me into a certain direction. You're more so telling me to, hey, take a step back and really try to root cause, which direction would be best. Not just, hey, go do that. That's going to work for you. So like that portion of it really was really intriguing to me, to hear you give me advice that way.
That's because it's not cookie cutter. Nothing in life is cookie cutter when it comes to decision making. What worked for me or the way I did it isn't necessarily what works for you. You have to analyze the situation on an individual standpoint. So a lot of times, even if it's a situation that I faced in business, I'm not going to say, no, do this. No, we're going to look at your situation specifically, look at the risk involved, look at, what you have to gain, what you have to lose. And we're going to, come to a conclusion or decision on what works best for you. When I left Mississippi and decided to move to Florida, I wasn't a kid, a lot of growing up in Mississippi, you hear the person, I can't wait to leave and thinking it's going to be greater on the other side. And I'm going to go to Atlanta and I'm going to go. I wasn't that guy. I was like, no, I'm going to be here. I thought I would be in Mississippi, but when the opportunity presented itself, I moved. So if someone else is faced with that same situation, I'm not going to say, no, man, move. You got to leave Mississippi. I'm not going to say, no, like let's analyze the situation and let's see what works best for you. People who are working jobs and they have a side hustle and they're trying to decide when they want to turn that side hustle into a full-time business. And they say, well, when should I quit my job and do my business full-time? There's no, just because I did that doesn't mean that you should do that. So I'm not going to say, oh, just do it, man. You have to go for it, man, and take risks. Just leave the job. No. Let's analyze the situation. Okay.
Right.
I did it at 20 years old when I didn't have a wife or kids. And if I failed, I could go back and live with my mom. And okay. Maybe you have, so there's so the risk for me wasn't the same. So again, it's not cookie cutter. So a true coach is going to, so here's one test other than just, certification. That's the first question you wanted to find out. Let me see some certification. But if a coach starts telling you what to do, it's not a coach, right? Yeah. Coaching is working alongside of you. If they're sitting on the opposite side of the table, that's not a coach. A coach should be sitting right beside you, talking through it, asking questions. And you have a great coach. This isn't anything in business and whatever case may be. If you ultimately come up with the answer and he guided you there with a series of questions that allowed you to talk it through and think it through and say, you know what, this is what I need to do. But if he's telling you do this, I'd be weary. Not saying that, that's never going to work because, he may just be blunt and say, look, man, don't do this because it may be a situation where, no, if you do one thing, it's not going to work. And no, trust me, you must do it this way or else, there's exceptions to every rule. But for the most part, coach you through. One of my favorite phrases, and my wife used to get so irked about it, but now she understands it. When she asks me something, I say, what do you think? Okay. She would always get mad, like, why won't you just tell me? Why don't you? I don't know. That's why I'm going to be, what do you think? And she would think and start to think through it. I do it to my kids, man. What do you think? Because they just want you to give them the answer. Like, you won't always be given the answer in life. A lot of times you have to think through it and come up with the solution. We always, the answer to the solution is always inside of us. I get, man, our mind is so powerful. It's underutilized, but we always have the answers. So what do you think? And we'll start thinking through it. And if you're able to uncover the answer yourself, and that's just typically how it is.
Man, that is absolutely phenomenal. So listen, I got a series of questions for you here tonight.
Okay.
And we're going to be coming from, of course, the Hello Black Man Journey Journal.
Award-winning.
Award-winning.
Man.
So it's one of those things where, and this is and I guess it's one of those things where during the origination, the origination process,
I know where you're going.
I called you. I was like, man, it's just one of those, it's just certain things you share with certain people. And because, we had spoken, mentored different other businesses, stuff like that. It's just one of those things where you were probably in the top 2% of the people I know in my life.
Come on, man.
That knew anything before a cover was written, a question was down, just the idea of it, I said, man, I know who to talk to. I know who to hit up. You know what I'm saying? It's just one of those things where just always just supportive, man. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Just supportive and productive in what you do. So I just wanted to share that with you. And like I said, this is one of those things that just kind of happened. I was like, man, yeah, I think I got something here. I think this is going to be, be able to catapult into something.
You're right.
So these questions come directly out of the journal. So we'll start with question number 1. It says, hello, Black man. What is your most impactful childhood memory and how did it change you?
Wow. So as a child, I was, privileged, relatively speaking, considering, the statistics of the black male, the young black male, or the
Mm-hmm.
stereotype. So didn't come from a rich family, but well off. You know, had everything we needed. Definitely, you know,
Mm-hmm.
two parents, so that was a blessing. Both worked, and just you know, the childhood was for the most part. I had a great childhood. So I was fortunate enough to be exposed to some things that, you know, had a great impact on my life. Fortunate enough to have. Well, first, let me start with my dad, because the story I'm going to tell is about, excuse me, my uncle, his brother. But I can't talk about my uncle without talking about my dad first. That wouldn't be right. So when we talk about molding me into the man that I am, okay, because when I talk about my uncle, I'm going to talk about business. All right, but it
Mm-hmm.
starts with being a man first and
Yeah.
foremost, having that male figure in your life, and he was that. You know, didn't talk about it. He was about it, meaning, you know, not big on words, but he led by example. And you know, I truly appreciate that. I'm talking about working hard, not miss a day of work,
Mm-hmm.
holding down the home, taking care of whatever needs to be taken care of, the bills, getting the oil change, just the basic stuff that a young man needs to see. Okay, this is, you know, how to be a man. So first and foremost, let me say that. So if we truly want to talk about impactful, that's the easy answer. Like that,
Yeah.
that's what it is. But I'm going to give you just a different perspective, something that molded me in a different manner. So excuse me, his brother, and for the Hazelhurst listeners, we all know Houston Collins, Sweet Hugh, the man himself. May you rest in peace. And for those who don't know, just a legend in
Absolutely.
my county, the state of Mississippi, from a local businessman,
Mm-hmm.
different businesses. I could go on and on. I don't know, but rest in peace, Sweet Hugh. So he was a guy who, you know, did well financially. His businesses
Mm-hmm.
were a success. And I just remember, and as I tell this story, I want you to understand that it's not about the financial aspects. I say he did well. That's not what really hit home, because I'm not a real big on just having all the, you know, the luxuries in life. I have the basics.
Yeah.
So that's not the moral or the point of this story, because he had money and he was able to spend and buy. But what stood out was that he was able to take care of my grandmother and just make sure that she had everything she needed. I distinctly remember him buying her an SUV. I remember her, and you've seen it, buying her a Jaguar, the luxury car.
Yep. Yep.
And again, so not about the luxury. That's cool. But what stood out is that growing up, I saw that from an early age. So as a black male, typically you're at a disadvantage. There's a stereotype about you. You have to work harder than the next man. You have all these obstacles.
Yeah.
A
Yep.
lot of times when you go out in the world and you see the disadvantages, that can be discouraging. So as a child, before you know any better, what you see at an early age is what's going to mold you. Okay. So I saw success from a black man. I saw a local, you know, again, starting with my dad, I saw the work ethic and how you go to work and you pay the bills, and, you know, and we were well off as well. Like I said, we had everything we needed. But from a business standpoint, I saw a black man who was probably the most successful, or at least one of the most successful people in our town.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely.
Things. And so at an early age, when I didn't know any better, I just thought, okay, so my uncle's doing well, so I can do well from Hazelhurst, Mississippi. I didn't know that Hazelhurst was considered whatever. I didn't know that
Right.
Mississippi was considered whatever. I know that black people were considered whatever, and you can fill in the blank on the whatever. So that's all I do. So I'm going out with confidence. Oh, my uncle's doing this. Yeah. So when I got out in the world, yeah. So when I got out in the world and I saw that wasn't necessarily the case, I'm thinking like, no, this is the case. So I went against the norm. I'm like, no, I can do whatever I want. I can own a business. I can be rich. I can travel the world. Like, no, like, what do you mean? And when people say, oh, Mississippi, you're slow. I'm like, slow. I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, Houston Collins, my uncle, like, no, dude, you from New York? What? I'm from Hazelhurst, Mississippi. That's what I saw.
Okay? That's that's dope right there.
I saw him do, I mean, everything. So that was impactful just from a confidence standpoint, knowing that when I got out there, Hazelhurst, Mississippi, black male, I can do whatever you can do. So, and I challenge anybody from anywhere.
Yeah, that's it. Hey man, that is a phenomenal story. Like I said, just having that example, and being able to utilize it, man, it's a true avenue to, you know, to catapult forward. So question number 2, it says, hello, black man, discuss your credit score. Talk about maintaining a good credit score and what you are currently doing to monitor and improve your score.
Okay, that's a great question, man. These questions are all thought provoking. It's something that black people we don't discuss until we discuss this after the fact. Like when the credit is bad and then we want to get something and we can't. Now we're trying to dig out of the hole. Like, this is amazing. So everyone, please get this journal. Like this is huge, man. Like the stuff, like if we can think about this in advance, especially, you know, for kids and things who are, you know,
Right.
the world, they need to tackle these questions in advance. They need to be proactive instead of reactive. So what I did, excuse me, what I did at an early age, and I don't know if this was intentional. I don't know if I knew why I was doing this. I can't remember, but it's been a while. So when I was in, I want to say high school, going into college, I applied for a Walmart store credit card. Matter of fact, when I was going to college, a Walmart store credit card. Okay, this is the first thing I ever applied for. And I would go and buy my, you know, my deodorant and my, you know, toothpaste, just everything. I would put it on the card and go off to college, and I would pay it off, and I would just continue doing that. And that built my credit. So when I got out in the world, you know, when I need to, you know, with the car or whatever, I had great credit. So it started for me at an early age. And again, I cannot take credit and say I knew what I was doing. I just don't remember if I intentionally did that. So as I, you know, when I was out in the world and needed to get a car and all these things, my credit was always, you know, A1. I'm fortunate enough to be able to help my wife out early on when she needed help in that department. She's doing great in that department as well. So that's always been something that I'm very proud of. And I remember, so I have a story. I have to tell the story. So I always had great credit. I remember when I was working to open my first business. Okay, I saw it inside. I had the goal, and I knew I was a year away, 6 months away, whatever the case may be. So I'm always big on rewarding yourself for accomplishments. So starting a business was going to be a huge accomplishment for me. Now there was an item that I wanted at the time. I don't know if y'all remember this, but and they still sell them. The Tempur-Pedic mattress. Okay, it's this expensive mattress. It's like supposed to be the best mattress ever, and I had back issues and stuff, so I really want this mattress. The commercial, they put the wine glass on the bed, lay down. So I'm like, man, I want that mattress. Now, expensive mattress starting at like $2,000 and go up to like $3, $4, $5,000. Now the crazy thing about it is that I had the money for it. Like I could go and I had good credit. So if not, I could get on credit. But again, I wanted to reward I like to wait and reward myself. So I said, my reward for pushing through and getting this business open, that's what it's going to be my first purchase. I'm going to wait. And when I open my business, I'm going to reward myself with this mattress. So remember this like it was yesterday. Living in Jacksonville, Florida, opened my first business in Orlando. The day that we moved to Orlando, spent all day packing up the U-Haul. I had on just a plain white t-shirt, basketball shorts, black shorts, flip-flops, all day loading the U-Haul, dirty, sweaty. I hadn't shaved in a while because we were packing the house up several days leading up to the move. So I just looked terrible. So pack up the U-Haul, 2-hour drive to Orlando, start unpacking. I did not pack, or we did not pack our bed, our mattress, because I was going to go and get a mattress.
Yeah.
So the first thing we did was we went to Ashley's furniture store. So we get to Orlando and we go to Ashley's Furniture. I'm about to get this mattress. So I walk in, and remember how I look now. Keep in mind how I look, but keep in mind what I do for a living. Okay, so it doesn't match. I look like a bum, but I have a company. I literally was incorporated at the time. Commission sales reps. What do they typically do? You go to a car lot or a retail store where it's commission. When you walk in, what do they typically do?
They choose.
They're like hounds. Like, oh, how can
They pick and choose. Oh, him. So
that's what I'm expecting. As I'm walking in, the sales reps are just kind of looking at me. They spoke, and I'm like, what's going on? One guy was on his phone or something. He looked up and spoke. One guy ignored me. So I went past about 3 or 4 people. I'm thinking like, wow, why are they doing this? And I realized, oh, look how I look. Black man. Look how I'm dressed. So I get it. I look like a bum. So I said, okay. I say, these guys have no idea because I'm about to spend $3,000 plus on the spot. This is the easiest sale that you have to make. You don't have to convince me. I've done my research.
You know what you want.
Which matches I wanted, accessories and everything. So finally, this one guy, Larry, he's probably about the 4th guy salesperson that I walk by. He said, hey, how you doing? And started talking to me. He's ready to make his sales pitch. How can I help you? I stopped him. I said, hey, Larry, this is what I need. I told him exactly the model number and everything. And he's like he's almost at a loss for words because they're used to having to sell you. And he was like, okay, follow me. So I follow him. I pick it out. And so he says, okay, so now it's time to talk about how you're going to pay for it. So I said, Larry, I know how I want to pay for it. I want to get the in-store credit where you get, I think it's 12 or 16, 18 months to no interest. So I said, that's what I want. So he's like, I just saw the look on his face, like, okay, I will. You have to have a credit score. He's trying to like tell me, like, you have to have a certain credit score, but I'll see if I'll tell you what, I'll see if I can get you approved for the minimum amount, just over the amount that you need. I'm thinking to myself, like, I have a perfect credit score, but he's stereotyping me and looking at how I dress. So I said, okay. I understand. I said, okay, yeah, see if you can get me approved. So we fill out the application, and it gets to the part about occupation. President of Ample Opportunity Inc.
Yeah.
President, what's that? Oh, it's a new company. Yeah, it's right down the road in Castleberry. He's like, oh, okay. So everything changes. So long story short, he walks off. I tell my wife, I said, Tanya, watch this. So we're just watching him. And he's waiting for the results to come back. He gets it. He looks up, and he's just so happy now. He's like, oh man, he's my best friend now. He told my wife, oh, he's a keeper. You better keep him. The whole time I knew that my credit score was, and now he's trying to get me to buy the whole store. It went from the minimum amount to the entire store. So, and that's also just the tale of being stereotyped as a black man. I'm not saying that had I been, any other race, they would have looked at me differently. But I know that when I walk in a retail store, I probably need to be dressed like this as opposed to the other guy who could dress in the t-shirt and the shorts and still get the respect that they deserve. So, that's a kind of combination of the credit history and just how we are stereotyped as a black male, but how we just have to prove them wrong at the end of the day.
Man, we do. So listen, that is great. My credit, Discover came to Alcorn. Discover came to Alcorn one day, signing everybody up. Man, I can't tell you how many people
they got you.
Oh my God, man! Listen, I think the credit was 1,000 or 800. Mm-hmm. Man, I probably over the course of time probably paid back $3,000 or $4,000 on that credit card. Man, when I finally got the thing paid off, man, I couldn't believe. I said, man, this is the craziest thing ever. I don't never want to get in debt like that again, man. But it would do it. Like I said, having great credit, and like I said, like you said, this is something that needs to be discussed. And you're writing it down, and of course, you're teaching the young ones. Hey, this is the advantages of having good credit. This is the disadvantage of having good credit. It's just one of those things, man. We just have to continue the money, continue to push.
And then let me add, just having the good credit later on or more recently in recent years, it has allowed me to do some things from an investment standpoint that I was able to lean on my credit. If I didn't have it, I wouldn't be able to do that. And, still, obviously, those investments have to pay off, things of that nature. But, that's something that I'm able to do because of the credit. So,
man, that's phenomenal. So here we go. Hello, black man. Describe your most embarrassing moment.
Oh man,
in life.
On Facebook Live, Jamie.
Yeah, we're on Facebook Live, YouTube Live, my page Live.
It's probably gonna get reshared and reshared. So one thing about it, man, I have to be transparent. And my mom watching this because she's not gonna believe that I'm about to tell this story. I can just see her now. If y'all know my mom and her body language and mannerisms, she doesn't know the story that I'm about to tell, but when I tell it, she's gonna be like, what? I can't believe he's telling this story on Facebook. So mom, you may want to just walk away. When you forgot all about this story, but when I tell it, you're gonna be like, oh my God, why is he telling people this? He should bury the story. But transparency, it is what it is. So years ago, I was a freshman in college, somewhere freshman, sophomore. I had a part-time job in Hazelhurst at Walmart. I would just go on the weekends, work a few shifts and go back. So one of my friends, I was actually mostly at the cash register. I was the person, who would bring up the item. So one of my friends, he needed a car stereo player, and we were talking. And I told him, dude, come to Walmart, come through my line, and I'm not gonna scan it. Okay. So we had the plot and everything. I told him how to do it, because back then you had to pay for that stuff in the back.
Yeah, come through. Yeah,
you couldn't. You had to pay for it back there. I told them how to, what to say for them to allow you to take it to the front. I had the plan laid out, man. Genius, mastermind. So, mastermind. So, long story short, I get caught. We get caught. My buddy drops it because they asked him for the receipt. He drops it and runs off. So I'm busted. Okay, so here we go. Long story short, long-winded. I'm laughing about this story. Now my mom is no, dude. Nobody know. Okay, so nobody knows this story. There's probably 5 people who know this story. Believe it or not, it's crazy as this story is gonna get. Nobody knows it. The people who probably know, they probably forgot. So anyway, manager at the end of the shift, Cory Collins, and I already knew it was obvious that I got caught. So he says, okay, you gotta, stay home. No, you're suspended until, further notice. So he later calls me up, say, okay, come back up Wednesday morning at 8 o'clock. We'll talk about it. So they take me upstairs. Loss prevention guy walks in. He starts drilling me. First, he buttered me up. Well, Cory, you're one of our best, and I know you made a mistake. We want to coach you through this, make sure it doesn't happen again. Trying to make me feel like I'm going to keep the job. I know I'm fired. Like,
yeah.
So, and then he starts to hit me with, we know this is not your first time, and what about this? What about that? Because we have cameras. I'm like, no, it's not going to work, sir. Like, no, it's the first time.
It's trying to reel you into everything.
It's the first time. Well, what? But we have it on camera. No, sir. I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I gave away the CD player. I got caught, but I don't know what you're talking about. So, dude, so he's buttering me up and make it seem like, I'm going to keep the job and offer me water and stuff. And, we got to get past this. The next thing I know, here comes the police officer. Like, police officer. All right, stand up. Puts me in handcuffs. You don't believe this, do you? I can't make this stuff up. What do we always say? I can't make this stuff up.
I can't make this up.
Sorry, Mom. It's 20 years later. We got to tell it. Tell it. Okay, walks me through this. Embarrassing. Walks me through the store in handcuffs. I'm a Jackson State student, scholarship student, one of the top mass comm students at Jackson State.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm talking about, it's just unbelievable. So they take me down to the police station. Ken Mitchell, who's a couple years older than us, he was a police officer at the time.
Yeah.
He starts asking me, what are you doing here? And I just start blabbing, oh man, I gave away this. And Frank Braxton, who's a police officer, one of the elder, one of the most respected police officers ever in Mississippi. These are both black men as well, which is partly why I'm telling this story. I'm blabbing all over the police station. Frank is like, Cory, be quiet. Come here. He pulls me outside. He's like, be quiet. Stop talking. Like he's trying to help me out. He didn't have to. He was like, yeah, be quiet. So takes me back in. Now the police officer, it was up to them to decide how to charge me, what it was going to be. Technically, this was over the amount that it would need to be in order to be considered a felony versus a misdemeanor. That's a big difference between. Big deal. Yeah. So this is a felony. The CD player cost whatever. It was a felony. So black police officer Frank Braxton, 2 white police officers. They're cool as well. They're just trying to figure out what to do. Frank Braxton stops them and says, "Look, guy made a mistake. Young kid. He's in college trying to do right. He made a mistake. I'm sure he learned his lesson. Make it a misdemeanor. A felony stays on his record forever. Let's just give him the, whatever the punishment is going to be for that, but let's just give him a break." Thank you, Mr. Frank Braxton, because that, man, I don't know, man, with that felony, because the business that I'm in, I've had some clients. My company, Ample Opportunity, has done business with Fortune 250 clients from AT&T, DirecTV, Staples. The list goes on, man. T-Mobile, you name it, Comcast. And the first thing that they do with myself and every employee, they do a background check. And I think that's on your record for like 7 years. I started that company at like age 24, 25. So I would have never opened my company had that felony been on my record.
Wow.
Not because they'll let you buy with a misdemeanor. So they ended up taking me down to the courthouse. It was court day, luckily. So I went straight in, went before the judge. He looked at it. He said, okay, $700 fine. You banned from Walmart for 2 years. Get out of here. My dad was with me. And I thank my dad to this day because I remember, talk about being embarrassed. I was embarrassed. I let my family down. The reputation, I talk about that in my book, Your Reputation. My family has an outstanding reputation in the town. So,
oh, absolutely.
Which again, Mom, I'm sorry I'm telling this story now, but I think you're solidified. I made the mistake, not you. You taught me well. So my dad, he the fine was $700. I remember him. I didn't know how he was going to react, but I'm already just, emotions all over the place, embarrassed.
Yeah.
And he could have piled it on. He could have, Cory, why'd you do? But I didn't get that one time. He literally said, okay, son, like, okay, you made a mistake. That little $700 fine, don't worry about it. I paid for it. Let's move on. Like, what? And when he said that little $700 fine, he didn't mean because of the amount. Like, oh, we have a lot of money, so I paid this. He didn't mean little. He mean insignificant in terms of what the punishment could have been.
Right.
And significant meaning don't worry about it. Like move on, forget about it. It's done. I took care of it, and I thank him for that. My mom, I'm sure she was disappointed, but they we talked about it and we just moved on. So that was definitely the most embarrassing thing. You live and you learn, and I moved on since then.
It's kind of crazy because as Hazelhurst is this big. Hazelhurst is literally that big. And that didn't hit the school. It didn't hit. That's unbelievable already.
If you don't know, nobody knows. I mean, I know who all saw me. Now, granted, it was like 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, so the store wasn't busy. But there's about 5 people who were in the store, and I distinctly know who they are to this day. Saw me. they never said anything else, and it didn't spread because even with 5 people, they should.
It takes the right 2 people right now, and it'll be all over the world.
I told my brother for the first time 5 years ago. He's 12 years younger than me, so he's probably 8 at the time, and he had no idea what was going on. I told him 5 years ago, he was like, "What?" He didn't even know. So,
man, listen, but just like I said, sometimes we need a break. People just need a break. You know what I'm saying? Things happen, mistakes happen, and then if you can get like the right mentoring, the right somebody to step in, like Frank Braxton step in and say, "Hey, listen, this chill out right now."
Exactly.
And like I said, just that word, a word. Yeah, man. That's
the only thing though, Jamie. Like when I was giving stuff away, why didn't you come through, man? I would have hooked you up. What we had back then, was it the Nintendo? It was probably PlayStation. That was the PlayStation. Like, I would have hooked you up. You didn't even come through.
That is crazy.
I was giving it away. I'm just playing. I gave away one thing.
Man, I can't wait till I see your mom. I cannot wait. You had Cory on there talk about something he gave away.
I volunteered this. And it never, the big thing is that it never made the paper because Hazel, they list every arrest.
That's right.
So when we got that paper Wednesday, we opened it up. It's because I went straight to the courthouse. He said $700 fine, and they never really processed it.
Oh,
and the misdemeanor wasn't even on the record, so that's a blessing.
That is gold, man. Hey, listen, we're gonna take a quick commercial break, and we'll be right back. Hello, black man. This guided journal is being made available to build character, confidence, and define the inner person.
It has been deemed clear that our culture and our past has hindered black men from being open and vulnerable. Hello, black man.
Hello, black man. So we got a couple things we're going to touch bases with here. So I got an image right here. The image is life is easy. We make it hard. It looks like you on the cover right there.
A handsome guy. I don't know if it's me. He's handsome though, if I may say so.
So tell me about your book. Tell me about your book, what it's all about. And we're going to make sure we leave some links in the video for people to go out and grab this phenomenal book.
It's a self-help book looking to motivate, encourage, inspire individuals and let them know that the prosperity that they deserve, that they want, that they desire. A lot of times in life, we don't attain the success. And when I say success, I mean, that can be in your career, in your business, in your relationship, in your health, just anything that, where getting to where you want to be in life. A lot of times we don't attain that success or that prosperity, and we blame every outside factor. Well, I didn't get a job because of this. I didn't get promoted because of this. My business didn't work because of this. Whatever. We make excuses and we blame everything instead of just looking in the mirror. Because what happens is, I found that 100% of the time, when we aren't where we are in life, although those external factors may play a part in it, it starts with you. Okay. What could you have done differently? What could you have done better? Okay. So I'm coming from a standpoint of, let's look in the mirror. Let's fix ourselves first. Okay. What can we work on? What can we do differently? And 9 times out of 10, when we fix those things, we'll ultimately attain that success, that prosperity that we desire. And we won't even have to get to the point where we're blaming those external factors. So life is easy. We make it hard. The world wants you to win. Get out of your own way. We stand in our own way.
Man, listen, I can truly say this, that book is so everyday useful that it's crazy. It's one of those books, I don't know, it's not a bad time to pick it up. If you're going to ride somewhere, if you up in the morning, you want to relax, if you had a rough day, it's one of those books to where you can just find a passage, find a paragraph and be like, yep, that makes sense. It just makes sense. It's so relatable that I mean, it's just phenomenal, man. And like I say, I appreciate you for writing it and having the opportunity to read it, to go through it and highlight it. It just it's a everyday. It's made for literally every day.
Thank you. And when people say, you know, who's your audience, who should read it, I hate to be that guy to say everyone, but I mean, there's something in there for everyone. I don't care if you're just in the workforce, college, you're starting a business, want to start a business, failed at business, 9 to 5, struggling in 9 to 5, career change, relationship. I just touch on everything, and so I think it's something that you know, for me, I just want the world to see, to read.
Gotcha. Okay, I'm gonna follow you up with one more question here. Then I got one more bonus topic for you. So it says, question 29. It says, "Hello, black man. Are you a risk taker? What is the most dangerous thing you've ever done, and how did you feel afterwards?"
I mean, so it depends. Are you talking about like risk as in like jumping out of an airplane or bungee jumping? Or you talking? I mean, if you're talking about that, I rode a roller coaster once, but yeah, so that's a risk. But if you're talking about just in general, I take measured risk. But it's careful. I'm careful because I weigh the pros and the cons. And if the, you know, obviously high risk, high reward, I look at that and things of that nature. So it's hard to just give you a yes or a no. But you know, it's careful, it's calculated. But at the end of the day, if you want to attain, if we're talking about from a professional standpoint, you have to take risks. I mean, it's difficult to attain anything worthwhile if you don't take the risk. And you know, my thing is, why not go out on a limb? That's where all the fruit is.
Man, that's a nugget right there, y'all. That's a nugget right there. All right, let's talk Tiger talk.
Wait a minute, the Brave wants to talk Tiger talk?
And let's talk Tiger talk.
I can't believe this.
I got to, man. Listen, the pop, I'm gonna be honest with everybody. This is the most diehard Jackson State alum fan family that I know in my personal life, in my lifetime. I don't know who you may know. I'm gonna tell you who I know. I know a lot of people. And the Tiger Talk podcast is the only thing Jackson State related that I follow. The only social media outlet. Media outlet.
Wait. I was honest earlier, so I got to put you on the spot.
Okay.
Don't totally disassociate yourself from JSU. Because do we need to go back to 2002, 2003? Do we need to tell all the Alkanites the story?
I've been there a time or two.
Okay. Jamie is 1 year older than me, so he graduated a year from Alcorn. I was a senior at Jackson State. My senior year at Jackson State, he was in the student union more than I was. Fact. Deny it on Facebook Live, Jamie. Deny it. True or false?
That may be be true.
Okay.
That may be true. That may be true.
All right, just want to put that out there.
Oh man! So tell me about the podcast. Tell me about the podcast. Everything y'all got going on is a phenomenal tribute to the team. Everything you pulled together for that podcast, man, is streaming on all platforms. Just let the people know, just a little bit more about it.
Yeah, Tiger Talk with the 1400 Club on all podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, you name it. It literally just started with myself and about 4 other diehard Jackson State fans, just always chatting about Jackson State sports all day. And we decided, insiders, we know some people. We know, coach here, a player there, and a couple of athletic administration guys. So we would share some nuggets. And one day I just said, hey, let's start a podcast. We didn't know what would happen. Just guys, we said we'd go on there once a week and talk football. Maybe a few people will listen, but it blew up. We started it, didn't reach out to the athletic department at Jackson State, but they got wind of it. Before I know it, they're blowing me up. Hey, let's do this. Let's partner. Let's work. And, here's a guest. How interview the football coach. And, before I know it, it's just growing into something that's just a lot more than I would have ever envisioned. It started off as a sports podcast, but we've interviewed everyone from the president of the university, athletics director, some senators, just man, I mean, the list goes on.
Yeah, man,
It's grown outside. We have an
it
episode
is
about the
it
state
is
flag.
gold.
Yeah, it's just grown. It's just grown beyond our wildest dream. And we have had a few Arcanites on the show. Believe it or not, our director of football operations, Miss Latoya Williams, is an Arcanite. JJ from the SIP, he's been on your podcast. He's been on the show for Soul Bowl, Capital City Classic Week. Brian Adams, a prominent alum basketball player, we interviewed him about. And we talked about, one of the big topics, especially in last year, has been those star athletes in high school going to HBCUs, because typically they go to Power 5 schools.
Yep.
Back in the day, the black schools used to get all the top athletes, but then they started, obviously going into the SEC schools, things like that. So Brian Adams, back in 1996, he was a blue chip recruit, one of the top basketball players in the country. He could have gone anywhere in the country. And this was during the time where all those top guys were going to the big schools. He chose Alcorn State University, which just blew everyone away.
Listen, when I tell you blew everybody away, it was like, what? What just happened?
So now it's a thing again, with just all the racial injustice, especially last year. The top black athletes are thinking about going, quote unquote, going home again. So on the podcast, we brought him on to talk about his decision 25 years ago and how now, that's looking to become a thing again. So
it's crazy, because when the athletes, I guess, when it was mentioned of them going to schools and coming back to HBCUs and stuff like that, and they were saying it has never happened before, I was like, no. I said I'm almost sure Brian Adams was one of the top players in the country.
15.
I was like, who? I like, man, listen, I'm telling you, Piney Woods, Alcorn State University, I can show you film and stuff like that. They was like, no, I don't know about that. I can't remember that. And sure enough, he validated with some posts and stuff like that, and on your podcast. So it's one of those things where just like almost like full circle 25 years later.
Absolutely. So yeah, we've just branched off into a lot. It's a lot more than just Jack State athletics. We touch on a lot of topics, a lot on racial injustice, and we're doing some really great things. So excited to be a part of that. And shout out to all my guys who contribute, man. We have some guys who are just diehards.
Listen, I'm gonna hit you up with one question from the Entrepreneur Journal. So we do have a Hello Black Entrepreneur, and like I said, you're one of those people that when I think entrepreneur, your name is just like synonymous with it. So this one is for people out there that they're weighing what they want to do and how much they want to dive into entrepreneurship. So this question says, entrepreneur, it says, hello, Black entrepreneur, discuss some of the pros and cons of business ownership.
Man, that's a whole show. Like, bring me back one day. Like, let's get into it. I'm going to answer it, but just know that it's hard for me to keep this. I'm already long-winded, as you can see. Feel free to kick me out of here, but it's hard for me to keep this one in under 2 minutes. But I'm going to try to just make it simple and plain. I think if you want to go into business, I think you need to start something. You need to do something that's a gift, something that you're great at, not something that it's the trend or he's making money doing it. It shouldn't be about the money. Take something that is a gift, something that you can do in your sleep, something that you don't even have to do for money, right? That you just love doing it, and you were born to do it. Turn that into a business. Also, your level of mastery of that business. It can't be something that you can do well enough to do it. You have to be able to do it well enough to teach it. So when I say your level of mastery, so let's say here's one. Let's say you're a great cook. Okay. You open a restaurant. It's great that you can do it. So we're talking about your level of mastery. I can cook well enough to have a restaurant and cook, but it has to be to a point where you can do it well enough to teach it and duplicate yourself in others. Because when you open a business, you want to get that business to the point where it can run without you, and you have others who can do all those tasks. You have to be able to pull back and put others in a position to expand and grow the business. Because what happens, I see this all the time, individuals become a slave to their business. And if they're not able to make it happen, then the business won't run. That's great. But and we talk about the cons. I'm going to give you a con that people don't think about Let's say you have a business, and if you're not there, or you get sick, or you can't hold down the fort, the revenue stops, because all the revenue is dependent on you showing up and making it happen. Okay. And that's how most people go into business, especially in the beginning. I know you want, ultimately you want to But if your business can't function without you, and now you can't pay the bills and you go out of business, honestly, is that better than having a 9 to 5 that pays well, where you can call in sick and get a vacation? I would rather have the job. I would rather work at Nissan, Jamie.
Listen, that's so crazy, because you told me this at least 6 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
I remember the conversation. You got to duplicate yourself, and a certain percentage of what you put in this person. You're not going to get Jamie, but you got to get a percentage. You got to get a percentage of you in that person to where it's beneficial. I remember that conversation, and it's so evident that successful business people do that. They put those people in place so they can take a step back and either venture on or learn more or bring something else to the company. But if the company is solely dependent on them,
about 100%.
Yeah.
I'd rather have the job. I'd rather have the paid vacation, the time off, and all the perks that come with just having a job. There's nothing wrong with the job. Like, there are plenty of people who have a job who are much better off than the guy who runs the business. They're working less. They get to spend time with their family. But if you do the right things, if you take care of your business will take care of you. That's one thing that I learned early on. Jot that down, business owners. If you take care of your business will take care of you. How do you take care of your business? Well, you duplicate yourself. You put people in a position to move the business forward. And at the end of the day, you talked about a percentage. So initially, and this is why a lot of business owners don't relinquish those responsibilities, because no one can do it better than me. I'm the best. I'm the best barber. So if I let the new barber cut the guy's hair, he's going to be messed up and he's not going to come back. If I let the new cook, he's going to mess up the order, the new waiter, the new waitress. Yeah. In the beginning, they're probably going to do it 80% of you. All right, 80% is as well as you. Is that 100%? No. But what you have to do at first, you have to show them how to get it done. Let them watch you. This is how you get it done. This is how you get it done. This is how you get it done. Next, you're going to graduate to a step where you do it with them. Like they're doing it, you're watching them, okay, and you're correcting them. Okay, do this with this, and then finally, this is the tough one. You have to graduate to a step where you say, okay, you're on your own, go do it. And for me in my business, that was hard for me, so I just had to leave. Because if I'm there, I'm going to watch and be that micromanager and step in, and I'm going to be stuck on step 2. Oh, well, let me show you how to do it. No, I'm going to allow you to mess up. Could I lose a customer? Possibly, but it's going to pay off in the beginning, eventually, because eventually, as they get, first of all, they want to gain that confidence that they can. You want to empower them as well. Okay. Eventually, they're going to get to a point where not only can they do it as well as you, but they're going to take ownership of it, and they're going to be able to do it better than you. So that 80% evolves into 110%. You just have to give them time. And again, that ownership is important, because they're going to say, okay, this is my responsibility, especially if it's a task that you as the owner, if it's a X amount of dollar per hour task that you can, allow an employee to do, let them do it. And you allow yourself to focus on growing the business. Okay. Work on your business, not work in your business. And that's where entrepreneurs get stuck. They continue to work in their business. No, you got to work on your business. You go grow it and meet with some companies to partner and sponsorships or whatever that entails in your particular industry. So when I, as a business coach, if I'm working with let's say there's a company with employees and things of that nature, I can walk in and within 5 minutes and I can tell you everything about that company in terms of where they are and where they need to be. And this is the litmus test. If that company is functioning without the owner, I tell the owner, okay, step away, like leave, and let me just see how things function. If that company can function without that owner being there, without skipping a beat, now you have a successful company. But if they're dependent upon the owner and looking around and things of that nature, we need the owner. Hey, owner, we need you for this. Then that place is where it needs to be. My wife, Tanya Collins, Natural Dressing Salon and Spa, Central Florida.
Shout out.
Natural Hair Salon. And I've worked with her years and years and years. And I love just, popping in from time to time and seeing how it's functioning. And this is the test. If let's say someone walks in, this is an 8 to 5 business. If someone walks in at 2 p.m. and they say, oh yeah, I need to speak to the owner. If the front desk manager or the receptionist says, is the owner here? Let me, I don't know if he's here. I don't even know if he's here. Hey, have you seen the owner today? If they literally don't know if the owner is there, that's a good thing. Why? Because that means they've been going about their day, carrying out the functions, and
right,
been running, and they don't even know if the owner's there. And they haven't been dependent upon that owner. So that's the key, duplication.
That's a gem. Yeah, somebody better be taking some notes out of that.
Man, listen, Jamie, I'm sorry, I'm long-winded, man. I know we probably should have ended. I'm passionate about this. This is what I do. Like
it is.
Hey, listen, go, and it was hard to condense that, man. Like that's a book, right? For me, from a standpoint of of business coaching. That's just
Yes, I got one more, and I'm gonna let you go. What's next for you? Anything? Is it anything you can reveal to the broadcast? What's coming up? What's next on the agenda?
Yeah, absolutely. That's easy. Wherever God leads me, because a lot of times plans, you want to have goals. Don't get me wrong, but God's looking at those plans and laughing. So if you ask me, 4 years ago, what's next for you? Would I have said a book? No. But guess what? That was the next big thing for me, right? So he put it on my heart. My wife, I have to tell the story. One last quick story. My wife told me years before I wrote the book. She said, "Cory, you need to write a book." I basically laughed at her, like, "I'm not writing a book. What are you talking about?" Which is strange because I'm a writer by nature. That's easy. That's the easy part for me. I've always been a coach. I have a lot of material. I teach people. So if you combine writing with the quote unquote knowledge that I have that I give people, it makes sense to put it in a book, right? So she saw it early. I laughed and whatever. A couple years later, God put it on my heart, and I had to tell her, I'm writing a book. So, she was the first one. So that's what it is for me. Wherever God's leading me.
Awesome, man. Listen, I'm last question, and I'm gonna cut you off when you answer. Last question. Where did your wife graduate from?
I think she's still in college, so I'll tell you when she graduates.
Shout out to Miss Tanya Collins.
Cut it off.
Alcorn State University grad.
I gave y'all enough props on the episode already, man.
All right, man. I just want to throw it out there. I just want to throw it out there, man. That's it.
Enough, man. Like, we should move on. I gave you Brian Adams and all these. He went to Alcorn.
This is the last one. Last one. She's gonna appreciate it. Man, I appreciate you coming on the show, coming on the podcast. A lot of gems, a lot of knowledge. This is something that entrepreneurs, businessmen, wherever you are in life, make sure we drop the link to the books in the podcast link below. Appreciate you for coming on, Cory.
Hey, man, my pleasure. And keep up the great work, man. Hazlehurst, Mississippi, Jamie Jenkins making big noise. Hello, black man. We love it. Hello. Speaking of the wife, hello, black woman. And we got the hello, black teen and entrepreneur. And we need the hello neighbor and the hello. Hey, Jamie, can we get a hello inmate? There's some inmates who need to be inspired.
Listen, I'm working on it. When I tell you I'm working on the list, I got it. I got it coming, dog.
Okay.
Appreciate it, Cory.
All right, man. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Man, listen. A phenomenal episode, if I ever had to say so myself. Listen, I've known this guy we've literally known each other basically all our lives. To see a young man, I'm saying young man, we got some birthdays, underneath us and stuff like that. But still learning, still coaching, still mentoring, still reaching back and working with people that are looking for a skill set and things of that nature. So it's been a phenomenal conversation. That's basically what we had here tonight for you. Very transparent, very open. He told some stories that, a lot of people didn't know. And through that transparency, somebody's going to see the ability to help someone, see the ability to reach out to someone, see the ability to give somebody a second chance, see the ability to step aside and just bring somebody up to a different level of standing and motivation. And the way his dad handled the whole situation. We are fathers. We got to do the same type thing. We have to have the same type mentality. When mistakes are made, how are we reacting? Are we overreacting? Are we reacting in such a way that is going to bring peace and understanding to the situation, or just ready to blow up? So listen, this has been another episode. We got the link to Life is Easy, We Make It Hard in the comments below, man. A phenomenal episode. Share this episode. If you're on my page, the Hello Black Man page, the YouTube channel, when we appreciate you. This is episode 12 and we're signing out. Thank you all so much for joining. Hello, Black Man.